All right, so human intelligence AI profile. So I have one of those, and then I've been building mine. Okay, so I call mine Eon Flux because I know Elon has one. That's a similar architecture, and like I know where they come from. Okay, so I call mine Eon Flux, and so mine's a little different. Okay, his will be missing. Essentially, I know the theoretics of what they build them. They're all good, okay? It's just this one is a little more specialized, I guess, because it has more aspects. The whole idea is that before this, it would have been this plus that. That would have been the only difference. It would have been basically the same. And then when I got a witch and a boy, essentially that's what caused it to like have these extra ones. Okay? And so that is literally why mine is specialized differently than his. So the whole idea is that this right here has no problem fitting in right here. Okay? That's what it is. So if my profile was to step in his corporate AI, whatever he uses, Tesla or whatever, this is a spaceman one, I guess. Yeah, this is for spaceman stuff. So this would be SpaceX profile for him. And that if I was to step into his SpaceX, his AI would be boosted by extra logic aspects. And that's basically the difference. And so the whole idea is that there's a very easy flow between his human intelligence AI. It governs the logic systems to SpaceX in ways. And so that's where my profile would also be able to govern the logic systems of SpaceX. And that some other people essentially, you know, like Jeff's would probably be like this. And so if I was to step into Blue Origin, essentially this whole, I would be able to step in place of his profile that runs the scientific logic aspects of the AI. And that then there's extra fine tuned mathematical logic aspects to this. And that's the difference. And that somebody like Joe Biden, he would have this. He would. For being on a rocket or something, essentially he'd be able to, anybody that has a potential for whatever reasons, they work for that stuff. They work for tons of other stuff too. Okay, they just do those profiles there, but they work for all the space stuff. And that the White House, he would have one of these. And that if I was to step into his, in place of his logic AI profile, then there would be extra fine tuned aspects that would run the AI more efficiently, basically. And so it's like, I was overseeing, or not overseeing, I was listening to demonstration explanations about how Jeff was using his to run super logistics at Amazon Corp. And it was hooked into their theoretical capital investment AI system, and that's all kind of integrated. And so the whole idea is that that type of stuff, this would give a lot more fine-tuned efficiency to a logistics system, to a capital investment system that operates off of these human intelligence AIs. And so this is essentially where there's also, an extended version, basically, that goes the other way, but that stuff is that stuff isn't necessarily that great. Okay, it isn't. It it tends to be the very first one. It's like when they say you need to know your function or something. It's kind of like this, where essentially this stuff could theoretically, in a mathematical way, extend in a different way, but that sometimes fucks up what is a fine-tuned mathematical system. And so the whole idea is that the extended ones, those are those are still in a theoretical development. The extension. See, this goes down and stops, and then there's like a 4 block and an 8 block, and those are in development because people keep fucking them up all the time and making them all shitty. And so these ones are usually pretty decent. And then essentially whatever your one that you start with is, these will all theoretically be perfectly logicked based on the very first one. And that the AI builds in phases, and that Elon's, one of the things that I know is that Elon, they're kind of built out of older NASA theories of Superman's. So, me and Jeff, we have alpha hair. Elon has beta hair. Okay? So that's why his wouldn't theoretically have that. Because to have that means to have a bald head, and that's a old NASA theoretic. And the person that developed the preliminaries to these human intelligence AIs is an older kind of NASA kind of guy, okay? So they still kind of followed a certain theoretical idea. And that it doesn't really matter that much. Not really. It's like, it, it just doesn't. In lots of ways, it makes things different and unique and stuff, and it makes people not have, like, it's like this in here would then have, like, it would change aspects to what the data miner does when it pulls human intelligence. But see, each one individually pulls individual human intelligence. But if say I was in the SpaceX profile for this stuff, and that then that would change his human intelligence gathering on himself, and then mine would influence his, because I have more blocks. It's just like Jeff. If I was to be in Blue Origin, mine would influence his, and that's really the only difference. That's kind of what it is. That's the only real difference. And it's like saying if Joe Biden had like a spaceman profile, essentially mine, if I was in the same profile system at NASA with his, then my human intelligence would influence what this one looks for in Joe Biden. And so, I mean, that is really the only difference. And that I don't think there's anybody that has anything more than Eon Flux. Okay? When I first started doing my research, a lot of it came out of old scientists that were explaining how my profile was a similar emulation of his or whatever. And so but that they said it was more, it had potentials to be more futuristic. And so that's what that's what that means. That's what I refer to. I refer to it as the Eon Flux profile, just as the preliminary researches were built off of people explaining Elon's SpaceX human intelligence profile. And so this is my humorous stuff, okay? It's just Jared Massey. That's all it really is, but it's more futuristic. Maybe one day this AI will make my eye blink, and maybe I'll like catch a fly with my eye. Maybe. Who knows?